Michael Jackson had never become what he became, he wouldn't have had to have been sexually abused and victimized.
It's another can in the assembly line. You know, I want to, create, do something that's totally different and unusual. It's like, I hate to say it, but it's like what all songwriters say. It's true. It's like you don't write the song writes itself. And it's just...
Never one to hold back, Jaguar Wright has always been a voice of bold honesty, unafraid to pull back the curtain on the music industry's most closely guarded secrets. But this time, she's dropped what might be her biggest bombshell, one that is sending shockwaves through the music world. Known for exposing hidden truths about the industry with a reputation for going where few others dare, Jaguar has just set her sights on two legendary figures, Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones. Together, they crafted some of the most iconic songs in music, turning Jackson into the king of pop and cementing Jones's place as a mastermind behind the scenes. To the public, their partnership seemed like pure creative magic, but according to Wright, there's a hidden side to this story, one that raises troubling questions about the price of fame, power dynamics, and what really went on behind closed doors. We know Michael Jackson as a global superstar, a musical genius who shattered boundaries with albums like Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad, all crafted under Quincy Jones's expert production. Their collaboration defined an era and left a lasting legacy. But what if that era wasn't just shaped by artistry and collaboration? What if there were hidden tensions and power struggles beneath the surface? Jaguar Wright hints that the relationship between Jackson and Jones was far from the seamless, brotherly bond the world imagined. She suggests there may have been a darker side to their partnership, one that affected Jackson in ways fans never saw. Wright has spent years exposing what she calls the hidden truths of the music world. Known for calling out industry figures and speaking on issues others avoid, her statements often bring a raw authenticity. But even by her standards, this latest claim is explosive. Imagine two titans of music united in success but possibly divided by manipulation and control. Could it be that the iconic songs we all know and love came at a greater personal cost than we ever realized? In this video, we're going to break down the shocking details behind Wright's revelations. We'll explore the untold story of Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones, digging into the alleged power struggles, hidden agendas, and high-stakes dynamics that may have shaped Jackson's career in ways we never knew. This isn't just a story of music and fame, it's a story of influence, power, and the price of stardom. Prepare to see these legendary figures in a whole new light. Before we dive into her shocking claims, it's important to understand just who Jaguar Wright is and why her words carry so much weight in the industry. A talented singer and performer in her own right, Wright came up in the neo-soul scene of the early 2000s, alongside top artists like The Roots and Common. Her music is raw, soulful, and unapologetically honest, qualities that also define her as a person. But over the years, she's become known for something more than just her music. She's taken on a role that few others in the industry are brave enough to fill. The outspoken whistleblower, unafraid to reveal the darker side of the music world. Wright has built a reputation as someone who isn't afraid to call out powerful figures, regardless of the risks. She's talked openly about her experiences with exploitation, betrayal, and manipulation within the industry, exposing what she claims are its ugly, hidden truths. Her candid nature and fearless voice have made her both admired and controversial, with fans viewing her as a truth teller who won't be silenced. While some dismiss her stories as sensational, others see her as a voice speaking out for those who have been harmed or silenced by the music machine. But Wright's revelations aren't just for shock value. Each time she speaks out, it's as if she's peeling back another layer of the music industry's glossy exterior, revealing the power dynamics and sacrifices involved in reaching the top. Her bravery in sharing her own struggles with industry gatekeepers has made her a hero to those who believe in exposing injustices, and it's this very courage that has led her to speak up about Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones, two of the industry's most untouchable icons. Wright's claims don't just add intrigue, they bring a sense of urgency to the question. If she's telling the truth, what does that mean for everything we thought we knew about these legends? As we move forward, keep in mind that Wright's words aren't coming from just anyone. This is a woman who has spent years in the trenches of the music industry, who's seen and experienced things most of us could never imagine. And now, with her latest statements, she's inviting us to look deeper into the hidden complexities of Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones's legendary partnership. But according to her, this isn't just another story of fame and success. It's a story of influence, manipulation, and secrets that may never have seen the light of day. Until now, Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones, a partnership that changed music history. When Jackson and Jones first joined forces in the late 1970s, the result was nothing short of revolutionary. Their collaboration on Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad redefined what pop music could be, blending genres and setting new standards that few artists have been able to match. Their chemistry seemed effortless, producing timeless hits like Billie Jean, Beat It, and Thriller that have since become cultural landmarks. On the surface, it appeared to be a perfect artistic marriage, two creative geniuses pushing each other to new heights. But as Jaguar Wright suggests, their relationship might not have been as harmonious as the music they made together. Wright claims that behind the scenes, there were elements of control and influence that extended beyond the recording studio. She suggests that Jones played a powerful role in shaping not just Jackson's music, but his entire persona and public image. While Jones was undoubtedly a guiding force, helping Jackson craft the sound that would propel him to stardom, Wright hints that his influence may have crossed into manipulation, a claim that raises eyebrows when we consider Jackson's well-documented struggles with his identity, image, and personal life. This isn't the first time questions have been raised about Jones's role in Jackson's career. Rumors have swirled for years about the intense demands placed on Jackson during the production of these iconic albums. Fans and industry insiders alike have speculated that Jackson's relentless pursuit of perfection might have been fueled, at least in part, by the pressures imposed by those around him. According to Wright, Jones may have been more than just a mentor. He may have had a vested interest in controlling Jackson's trajectory, molding him into a star with a specific image, one that was carefully calculated for mass appeal, but came at a personal cost to Jackson himself. Wright's claim forces us to look at the Jackson-Jones dynamic through a new lens. Was Jones's mentorship an essential part of Jackson's rise to fame, or was it a relationship that carried hidden complexities and strains? Could it be that Jones's powerful role in Jackson's career had an impact that went beyond the music, affecting Jackson's sense of self and his ability to make choices freely? This partnership, once viewed as the perfect pairing of talent and vision, now seems to have a more complex narrative. And according to Wright, the relationship between Jackson and Jones wasn't just about creating chart-topping music. It was a power dynamic with consequences far beyond the recording studio. But as we're about to see, this is only the beginning of what Wright has to say about the hidden tensions lurking within their seemingly flawless collaboration. Jaguar Wright's revelations don't stop at questioning the dynamics of Jackson and Jones's partnership. She goes further, hinting at a level of influence that might have gone far beyond mere mentorship. According to Wright, Quincy Jones wasn't just guiding Jackson, he was controlling him in ways that may have stifled the artist's true voice and personal choices. She describes a relationship where Jackson, despite his superstar status, may have been subject to Jones's decisions on everything from the music to the image he projected to the world. Wright's claims suggest that this influence wasn't just a matter of musical direction, but could have crossed into Jackson's identity itself, the carefully curated persona, the iconic king of pop image, even the public-facing elements of his life. All of these, she implies, were crafted with Jones's guidance, perhaps at the expense of Jackson's own wishes and mental well-being. Wright paints a picture of a young artist caught in a web of expectations and manipulation, shaped into a product meant to appeal to audiences, but that may have caused him inner turmoil and confusion. This allegation resonates when we think of Jackson's own words from interviews in his later years, where he spoke of feeling misunderstood, isolated, and even trapped by his fame. Could it be that the intense, sometimes bewildering changes in Jackson's appearance, personality, and behavior over the years were influenced by forces outside of his control? According to Wright, Jones may have exerted an influence that was more than just professional. It was deeply personal, affecting Jackson's sense of self and contributing to his struggles with identity and self-expression. It's a claim that sheds new light on Jackson's complex relationship with fame and his own identity. For years, fans and critics alike speculated on what led Jackson down a path of transformation and struggle, but Wright's words raised the unsettling possibility that some of his struggles may have been influenced by the very people he trusted to guide his career. Was Quincy Jones's influence the creative push that helped Jackson achieve greatness? Or was it a subtle but damaging control that contributed to the inner conflicts Jackson would face throughout his life? According to Wright, the answer may be a mixture of both, a partnership that produced brilliance, but at a high cost to Jackson's personal happiness and self-identity. And as we'll see, Wright's claims don't just point fingers, they bring to light highlight a deeper pattern of power dynamics and control that she alleges are all too common in the music industry. But just when it seems we've heard the most shocking part, Wright's next revelation suggests an even darker side to the industry. Jaguar Wright's claims about Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones go beyond personal dynamics, hinting at something much darker, a hidden culture of power plays and manipulation that reaches deep into the heart of the music industry. According to Wright, Jackson's experience with Jones wasn't an isolated incident. She describes an industry where the biggest stars often find themselves caught in webs of control, where mentors and industry figures wield their power to shape, manipulate, and sometimes exploit artists in ways the public rarely sees. In her revelations, Wright alludes to dark secrets that supposedly exist within the industry, and she hints that Jackson may have been one of many artists caught up in these high-stakes games. She paints a picture of an environment where control is currency, and young, talented artists, particularly those with groundbreaking potential like Jackson, are often surrounded by figures who see them as investments rather than individuals. This isn't just about collaboration, according to Wright. It's about a system where those with influence can bend the careers, images, and even lives of artists to their will. Wright also makes cryptic references to the toll this environment takes on artists' mental and emotional well-being, suggesting that the pressure, isolation, and manipulation leave scars that are rarely healed. Jackson's struggles with trust, identity, and stability have been well documented, and Wright's claims bring up the question, were these issues amplified by the pressures and control exerted on him by those in power, like Jones? According to Wright, Jackson's inner turmoil may have been far more than just the byproduct of fame. It may have been the result of calculated influence designed to keep him in line with the industry's demands. These dark secrets that Wright hints at aren't just limited to Jackson and Jones. She suggests that such power plays are systemic, part of a larger pattern that has affected countless artists across generations. Wright's words hint at the existence of a shadowy underbelly of the music world, one where success often comes at a steep price, and where control is maintained through invisible strings and hidden agendas. As we listen to Wright's descriptions, we're left with unsettling questions. Was Jackson's life shaped not just by his immense talent, but by forces beyond his control, pulling him deeper into a world where he had less and less freedom? Wright's implication that these power plays go far beyond one relationship between artist and producer raises the stakes of her story and paints a darker picture of the industry as a whole. But according to her, the Jackson-Jones relationship was just one example of a larger pattern, and as we delve further into her claims, it becomes clear that the power dynamics and hidden struggles she describes are not just part of Jackson's story. They're part of an industry-wide reality that Wright alleges has harmed countless artists. The story of Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones might be just one chapter in a much larger, troubling narrative. Wright doesn't hold back when describing the hidden tensions that, according to her, plagued Jackson and Jones's relationship. She suggests that behind the polished, professional image presented to the public, there were struggles for control that left Jackson feeling increasingly cornered. Wright claims that Jones may have pushed Jackson in ways that went beyond artistic direction, placing heavy demands and expectations that wore down the young star. This alleged pressure, Wright implies, might have contributed to Jackson's more visible struggles with identity and self-worth, a toll that was hidden from the fans who adored him. As the public watched Jackson rise to stardom, few could have imagined the pressures he faced off stage. From his groundbreaking music videos to his unforgettable stage presence, Jackson's every move seemed meticulously planned and executed, embodying a level of perfection that few could match. But according to Wright, that perfection came at a price. She suggests that Jones was one of several powerful figures who may have exerted control over Jackson, not just to ensure success, but to shape his identity and influence his choices, decisions that were perhaps not always in Jackson's best interest. Wright's claims add a new dimension to Jackson's well-known struggles with fame and self-identity. For years, fans and critics alike have speculated on the sources of Jackson's insecurities and the drastic changes he underwent, both physically and emotionally, over the years. Wright suggests that some of these changes could be traced back to the pressures of meeting Jones's high expectations and the demands that were placed on him to maintain an iconic image. In her view, the relentless push for success and the pressure to uphold a meticulously crafted persona may have exacerbated Jackson's internal conflicts. This hidden tension, as Wright describes it, wasn't just professional, it was personal. She claims that the weight of these expectations left Jackson feeling isolated and increasingly dependent on those around him. Wright implies that the power dynamics between him and Jones went beyond the studio, affecting affecting Jackson's sense of freedom and self-expression? Could it be that Jackson, despite his massive influence, felt trapped within an identity that was in part built by others? For fans who've seen Jackson as an artist in complete control of his work, Wright's claims paint a very different picture. They suggest that behind the success, behind the dazzling performances and chart-topping hits, Jackson may have been wrestling with hidden pressures and control issues that undermined his autonomy. And according to Wright, these were not the types of struggles that could be solved by fame or fortune. They were deep-rooted conflicts that, in her view, took a lasting toll on the King of Pop. As we continue to unpack Wright's claims, the image of Jackson's life and career grows more complex. Was he truly able to chart his own course? Or was he, as Wright suggests, shaped by forces beyond his control? These questions add yet another layer to the story, making it clear that the relationship between Jackson and Jones was far more complicated and potentially damaging than anyone ever knew. Wright's claims about Jackson and Jones aren't just personal. They expose what she describes as a much broader, deeply entrenched pattern of exploitation in the music industry. According to her, Jackson's struggles with control and manipulation were symptomatic of an environment where young artists are often viewed less as individuals and more as assets. Wright paints a picture of a world where industry veterans pull the strings, profiting from artists' talents while keeping them in the shadows, often bound by unseen obligations and pressures. For her, Jackson's experience represents the story of many artists who, despite their fame, are caught in a system that prioritizes profit over personal well-being. Wright has spoken openly in the past about her own experiences with exploitation in the industry, describing moments where she felt used and misled by people who were supposed to support her. She claims that artists, especially young and ambitious ones, are often led into agreements and expectations that bind them to a rigid image or sound, limiting their creative freedom and leaving them at the mercy of powerful figures. According to Wright, this treatment was all too familiar for Jackson, whose identity and creative choices were, she suggests, heavily influenced by the expectations placed upon him by people like Jones and others in his orbit. This alleged exploitation, Wright argues, is systematic, woven into the very fabric of the music industry, particularly for those aiming for the kind of global stardom Jackson achieved. She describes a scenario where artists are encouraged to become larger-than-life personas, yet behind the scenes, they are controlled, monitored, and sometimes even isolated to maintain a profitable image. Wright's words give us a glimpse into the darker side of fame, where the highs of success are balanced by the lows of feeling like a commodity. For Jackson, the relentless push to stay on top of the charts and in the spotlight must have come with immense pressure. Wright suggests that the expectation to uphold an idealized image, the King of Pop persona, contributed to his own sense of disconnection from reality, leaving him increasingly vulnerable to those who held power over his career. She implies that Jackson may have found himself trapped in this cycle of exploitation, a cycle that pushed him toward personal struggles and crises that ultimately took a toll on his mental health and sense of identity. According to Wright, Jackson's story serves as a cautionary tale about the music industry's darker, unseen side, a side that fans rarely see but that affects the lives of countless artists. Wright argues that exploitation isn't a one-time occurrence, but rather a well-oiled machine that keeps the industry running, often at the expense of the very people who create its wealth and success. This is more than just a personal story about Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones. It's a reflection of an industry that, according to Wright, has thrived on controlling and exploiting talent. As we listen to Wright's perspective, it's hard not to wonder, was Jackson a victim of an industry that valued his talent but not his well-being? And if so, how many other artists have faced similar struggles, hidden behind the allure of fame and fortune? Wright's revelations bring these questions to the forefront, leaving us to confront the unsettling reality of what might lie beneath the surface of the glitz and glamour of stardom. As Jaguar Wright's explosive claims continue to circulate, they've sparked a wave of heated debate and speculation across social media and among fans. For some, Wright's revelations confirm what they had long suspected, that there was much more beneath the surface of Jackson and Jones's relationship and the music industry at large. To others, Wright's assertions seem too shocking to believe, a mixture of truth and speculation that raises more questions than it answers. But no matter where you stand, it's clear that Wright's words have forced many to reconsider the narrative surrounding these two music legends. Fans and experts alike have begun re-examining Jackson's career, looking for clues that may support or refute Wright's version of events. Some point to Jackson's increasingly isolated and withdrawn behavior behavior in later years as evidence of the pressure he may have been under, while others referenced the artist's own words in interviews, where he hinted at feeling controlled, misunderstood, and trapped by the very fame he worked so hard to achieve. Even Quincy Jones's occasional remarks about his collaborations with Jackson are being revisited, dissected for hints of any underlying tensions or unspoken truths that might align with Wright's claims. This debate isn't just about Jackson and Jones, though. Wright's words have ignited a larger conversation about the music industry's treatment of its artists, especially those who achieve immense fame at a young age. Fans are questioning the ethical responsibility of the industry's power players and asking whether more could be done to protect artists from the psychological and emotional toll of fame. Some supporters of Wright's claims argue that her insights reveal the toxic side of an industry that often sacrifices individual well-being for profit, while skeptics question whether Wright is using these revelations to make waves or even settle old scores. Yet regardless of the opinions her claims have sparked, one thing is clear: Wright's words have made people look closer at the lives and struggles of their idols. By drawing attention to the hidden costs of fame, she's challenging fans to reconsider the personas they see on stage or on screen and to recognize the people behind the legends. Did the pressure to maintain a flawless image really push Jackson toward the personal crises he faced? And if so, who else in the industry might be suffering under similar strains today? As the debates rage on, we're left with more questions than answers. Wright's claims about Jackson and Jones may never be fully proven or disproven, but they have undoubtedly opened up a new layer of intrigue surrounding these iconic figures. This isn't just a story of music and fame anymore. It's a story about control, influence, and the price that some artists pay to reach the top. And as Wright's revelations continue to spark conversations, it's clear that her words have planted seeds of doubt that will linger long after the discussion fades. In the end, we're left to wonder, was Jaguar Wright's account a glimpse into the hidden realities of the music world, or simply a controversial perspective meant to provoke? Perhaps only time will tell, but one thing is certain: her words have forever changed how we view the lives of Michael Jackson, Quincy Jones, and the music industry itself. Jaguar Wright's revelations have shed new light on the complex and often troubling side of the music industry, one where the pursuit of fame and fortune can blur the lines of mentorship, control, and personal sacrifice. Her claims about Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones aren't just about two icons. They reveal a deeper narrative about an industry where power dynamics and hidden pressures can influence the lives of even the most famous artists. Wright's words have sparked a fresh examination of Jackson's life, his struggles, and the relationships that may have shaped him in ways we're only beginning to understand. As we look back at Jackson's career through this lens, we're left with unsettling questions. Was the image of the king of pop carefully crafted not only for success, but for control? How much of the man behind the music was molded by forces beyond his reach? And perhaps the biggest question of all, how many other artists have faced these same hidden struggles, their stories untold and masked by the allure of stardom? Wright's claims force us to think more critically about the price of fame and the system that propels artists into the spotlight. In an industry that profits from larger-than-life personas, are artists truly free to be themselves, or are they molded into versions that serve others' interests? Wright has opened a door to a side of fame we rarely see, inviting us to consider the unseen costs that many artists may be paying behind the scenes. Ultimately, Jaguar Wright has left us with a story that goes beyond mere controversy. It's a story that urges us to dig deeper, to question the narratives we're given, and to empathize with the struggles of those who live under the intense gaze of fame. Whether you believe every word or remain skeptical, her claims have undeniably sparked conversations that won't fade anytime soon. Perhaps it's up to each of us to decide, was this a glimpse into a hidden truth or simply a provocative tale? In the end, Wright has made us all question what lies beneath the surface of stardom, and in doing so, she's challenged us to rethink what it truly means to be a legend.